You're listening to the Coffee Before You Talk to Me podcast, hosted by Bean Mug and Coffee Co.
Welcome to the Coffee Before You Talk to Me podcast, hosted by Bean Mug and Coffee Co. I am Jose, along with Tom. Tom, my good man, who do we have on the show with us today?
Jose, we got a good one today. So in to join us is our friend Alyssa from Wandering Sweets Ice Cream Shop and Food Truck in Point Pleasant. So Alyssa, it's great to have you today. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna dive into two different businesses here, right? Because while they're companions and run similar paths, I'm sure they operate and function completely different.
So different.
So we're excited about that. We've known Alyssa for a couple years now, and I know she's friends with our third partner, Jason, mutually for a long time. And
I
then
went to college with your wife.
Oh, that too.
Oh, see? I didn't even know.
Well, yeah, that's also true.
It's like 6 degrees, right? You never even know.
Yeah,
what's happening.
That too. And then we cross paths again, and then now we're kind of hanging out, and we talk often, and we'll get into that, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Real quick, so we start all of our shows by asking the guests the same question, and this is the only one I don't have to look at my notes for. I know this one. It's what gets you up in the morning?
That's an easy one. Alone time. It's like the only time I get by myself, and it's like mentally, it's like the only time I ever allow myself to relax. Because like during the day, I'm cleaning, I'm taking care of kids, I'm working on business. But in the morning, I pray, I read my Bible, I make to-do lists, I just hang
So
out.
you like up at the crack of dawn before the kids even get up just to get a couple minutes?
Yes.
Oh boy.
And there was a time when I would get up, say like 6, and then my son would wake up at like 6:15. So I'm like, oh, I got to keep going back and pulling that back. And he just kept getting up earlier and earlier with me.
Oh man.
I like that.
I mean, I understand why you do it. I don't think I could ever accomplish that here because my daughter doesn't sleep in the morning. She is up before the sun all the time. Doesn't matter what time she goes to bed. Yeah. So I have to hide in the podcast studio to get alone time.
That's wild. Well, it's interesting though, because I think that you're spot on. I tell people like in the morning, like I catch a lot of flack for this from my friends in my circle, but I'll say it on the show. I don't care. I take baths.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll take a bath all day long because I feel like nobody's asking you for anything. So if I could find that time in the morning where like I could think or I could research or type notes or list out, I'm just looking for some peace. So I get it.
Yeah, my day gets thrown off when I don't get up early. Like because I just don't get that time to myself.
And it's like go time.
Yeah, it's like you got to have that part of your routine, right? Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like there's certain things I do in the morning. I don't get up before the sun is my first rule. But my second rule is I take like, 15, 20 minutes every morning and I sit in the living room and I go through my day and like what I have to do. So similar kind of practice, just with the sun.
With the sun, yeah. No, it's all healthy. So obviously, so Wandering Sweets is a ice cream shop, sweet shop,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
And you also own a food truck.
Yes.
Right?
That's my baby.
So can you tell us about like the journey and how you came up with the idea to start this, or what came first and kind of how we got started, I guess.
So the food truck, in my mind, the idea came first. I just like to throw really big parties, and I do like really elaborate like food and candy tables, like all different desserts. I like everything themed. Like one day I was like, what if I did this mobile? Like I was like, nobody's done that like mobile. So I got the idea, like put the candy dispensers on the outside of the truck, like have the display case so you can really like theme everything. So I have ideas all the time and I start them pretty often. I probably have ADHD.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I understand.
I have like so many ideas and I'm always starting businesses. And I just was like, brought it up to my husband. And he kind of like blew me off. And I was like, all right, I'll do what I always do. I like write out my business plan. I do all my research. And I just kind of like kept bringing it up. I don't know. I still don't know what made him agree to it. Like,
It's
but he did.
It's candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did. So we started looking into it. We started looking at food trucks. And then you need a commissary. You guys know.
Yep, we
Mhm.
do.
And I was kind of like, didn't know. I mean, it's hard to find one. You guys know that.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like I was in all these different groups on Facebook, and someone had written in New Jersey they were selling an ice cream store. And I was like, I do not want an ice cream store, but I'm nosy, you know?
Let me go
Okay.
find out. See if it
Yeah.
works, yeah.
So I clicked on it, and it was previously known as Haven Sweet Shop.
Yeah.
And it just like, I don't know. I had like, I know it sounds crazy, but I had like dreams about where I owned a candy store with like the basement, like, cause Wandering Sweets has a basement, like, and then I went to look at it, and you guys being a part of it, like I had already contacted Jason about using you guys for coffee. So it just kind of all fell into
I remember
place.
that too.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like how even from our relationship with the previous shop and being there before it was yours, and I knew the old owner Mike, and you knew Jason, and
Yeah.
it really kind of, I think, for everybody, like
It was
for
another
us,
6 degrees of separation.
yeah, because it was funny when Mike called me and told me he was going to sell the shop. I was like, oh no, because like you said, you need a commissary, and surprise, that's our commissary for
Yeah.
Bean Muggin. And then all of a sudden, Jason calls me, and he's like, I know the people that Mike's trying to sell this place to.
Mhm.
So it was 6 degrees of separation, and it all worked out, which is great. And here we are. I mean, it's got to be a year and a half.
Yeah,
about a year and a half, right? That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and for those listening, commissary, commercial kitchen, we've spoke about that before, you know, interchangeable. But yeah, we've been brewing cold brew at that 512 Bay Ave for quite some time now, and you know, we were lucky enough to kind of keep the same thing going. But
I actually this is
Pretty rare.
pre Wandering Sweets. But I told the story, I think, on the last podcast about how when we had to have our state Department of Health inspection, because they make us do that because it's technically a bottling plant, I guess, right? They never told us they were coming, and they just
No.
called me, and I had to run over there for my house. Luckily, I lived even closer then than I do now, and had to go through all that stuff. So it's it's been a good run for us at 512 Bay Avenue. So
Yeah.
we'll keep it going.
Uh-huh.
so the food truck idea came first,
Yes.
but that's not how it would open first, right? Like the ice cream shop or
Yeah.
sweet shop. I mean,
Mike was trying to get rid of the store like as quick as possible. You know,
Yeah.
his DJ business was back up and running, and
mhm.
but it was tax season, and my husband owns a tax business, so we were like May 1st.
Yep.
You know, we were like, we can't go any sooner than that. And then I had already started booking stuff on my truck before it was even like done. So I had a deadline of June 3rd for my truck. So that's pretty
Oh,
much
wow.
like, yeah, it worked just.
It
It was
was,
May 2nd I took over Havens, and June 3rd I launched the truck.
and when did the truck get finished? June
Like
1st?
literally, like yeah, it was like inspections.
Oh, I thought it was
everything,
later.
like-
Yeah.
I thought it was a longer gap. I
Well-
thought it was like May to like August for some reason. I didn't know it was that like a month apart.
no, it was literally like exactly a month.
I mean, I
Wow.
guess you got a little lucky in the sense of you painted at Havens and you
Mm.
changed color schemes and stuff, but there was no like layout changes
Yeah.
and stuff. So you're kind of like turnkey for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah, it was.
So that at least I'm sure helped you on timing for the truck. And
Yeah,
being able to
except
get
our
rocking.
candy dispensers. If you had gone in the first week, they were like almost on the floor because like we didn't know that it needed a certain bracket.
Right.
So we were like, uh-oh, I guess we're launching this way.
Yeah. I think we've had that experience once or twice too.
Yeah.
And you think something's going to work, and it is
But
what it is. Make
It's
it
been
make it
pretty
work.
smooth though.
I agree.
honestly.
I mean, I think for you guys, like, from my experience in there all the time, like, it seems like everything like operates well and smooth, and like you always have a good crew in there, so it's great.
Yes.
I'm sure it's a little more cumbersome on the food truck though.
So aside from the candy dispensers being on the floor for the first week, you know, you said you have different plans and you were, you know, creating all these concepts and, you know, picturing everything. But once you get up and running, what challenges did you not expect? Like what challenges did you face that you totally didn't see or things like that?
I mean, honestly, with the truck, I'll be honest, like there's been almost no challenges other than that we bought an old truck and it, like I was driving around like with it smoking for like 2 weeks. I was like, I gotta just get through these couple events.
And that was
Please,
recent,
God,
right?
yeah. I actually drove through Lakewood and I got like cursed off because it was like smoking through Lakewood. So, I mean, the truck that's it. The truck's been pretty smooth sailing. The store, I would say, just keeping a staff.
Yeah, well, I think
That's
Staff.
nobody
I
wants
think
to
that's the
work.
answer for
Yeah.
anybody that
Dun,
has a
dun,
store,
dun.
right?
Yeah.
On this episode of staffing,
Yeah.
it's been a problem for a lot of people.
Before we started, Alyssa and I were talking. Jose was grabbing our coffees, and Alyssa and I were talking about staff, and I was like, "Yeah, we need to get some more staff for next year." And it's October almost, right? Is it almost October?
we're
It's
in the
middle of
middle of
September.
September.
I don't know. Yeah, middle of September.
Yeah.
So we'll need that staff by like May. So I feel like we got to start tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to start yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Last week.
So you could train them all up and then they find a different
Oh
job
God,
in
don't
April.
say it. We should share staff.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
Uh-huh.
We should come up with like a mutually beneficial staffing relationship.
Something.
right?
Like a staffing
Like a co-op,
company.
like a
but
staffing
just,
co-op.
Yeah, that's a perfect name for
Oh
it.
man,
Right?
I think we just sparked a new business
yeah.
venture.
Listen, I tell
Jose
you.
and I have that same problem that you have, where you have these crazy ideas,
Yeah.
and go, "I'm going to start a business."
Oh yeah, listen, I'm already thinking I'm like staffing company
Yeah.
for like small businesses though in
Uh-huh.
farmers markets
Yeah.
Yeah.
and ice cream
It's
shops.
tough though, because
It's
like
hard.
just like for you, and I think I don't know how, but I've only met one of your employees. Every time yeah, she's the only one I met.
There.
Well, every time I go to the shop, like she's the one there. I'm like, this is great. She's awesome. This is great. And she my impression is like she really, takes it seriously and treats it as her own and sells the product. And I think that's the hardest part with, somebody in your situation when you're not going to be in the shop, or our situation when we're going to be out at a farmer's market that we do often, is you can get someone to work.
Yeah.
And you could pay them and they'll show up.
Maybe.
And they'll just sit there and you're not going to sell the product. That's the hard part. There's still a sell involved no matter what.
I'll tell you what, Jasmine was a condition of getting the store. If she had not, she left her job to come work.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And if she hadn't agreed, I wouldn't have opened the store.
So
I
you
would've
knew
got a
her
normal.
previous to having the
She
store,
was my
obviously.
son's daycare teacher.
Oh,
Yeah.
I tried to steal a daycare teacher one time
Yeah,
too for
they're
a
the
job.
best.
Yeah, they're
They
awesome.
can multitask.
Yeah.
They're
No
happy,
way.
bubbly.
Yeah. Wow, that's
And so because of that, if she would have said no, the store wouldn't have happened. I would have got a normal commissary, and I don't know where you guys would be.
probably at your normal
we'd be-
commissary
Yeah.
with you.
We'd
in
be
the
like-
store.
We'd be begging some new owner to be like,
Yeah.
listen, we're a
Yeah.
good couple guys.
Yeah.
Getting vetted
last guy will
again.
vouch for us. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, can you Mike, you write a letter of recommendation?
And I tell you that I had this one employee, and she's on the spectrum, and she I just forget to tell people that you guys come there,
Oh,
and so
Oh.
Yeah.
Jason scared the crap out of her, and every time he goes there, she sends me these texts he said he could lock up, but I don't think I should leave. And I'm always having to be he's a good guy. You're
Yeah.
good. He closes up all the
But
time.
that's what you want.
yeah. Oh, 100%.
You want people to
I know.
Yeah,
But it
you
was
want
just
people to care.
she
And
did.
I
She
could-
was
Just
great.
care.
And there's 3 of us. And
Yeah.
I've walked in there previous to you owning it when it was Havens. And Mike had he had a lot of different people that were working there.
Yeah.
And I'd go in there and be like, hey, what's up? And I'd just go about my business. And they'd look at me all freaked out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I
I'm the
know.
coffee guy. No, we never met. So I get it.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. But I had an experience there where I don't think I've ever experienced this before. I didn't know it was a thing. But the ice cream guy, the guy that delivers products and stuff, I guess,
Yeah.
the cones, I think it was, and cups or whatever.
Mhm.
He showed up to make a delivery, and I was like, no, they're closed. And he's like, I got the code for the key.
Yeah.
And I almost fell over because
Yeah.
I called Mike, and I was like, is this okay? Is this guy's
Yeah.
in here? Is leaving stuff? And I didn't know that was a thing either. So
Yeah.
I understand why your employees would
Yeah.
be freaked out
Yeah.
by some random guy
No, just
coming in
shut
and
up.
going, I'm going to
And
make
you
coffee.
coming
in
through the
back.
side too, so it's
Yeah.
not like you were coming in through the
Yeah.
front.
Scare the crap out of everybody.
So, yeah. So the other thing too, right? I guess from building perspective, so you had the truck idea, you found the commercial kitchen, it kind of just worked out. And then how do you like separate like yourself from other food trucks? I know it's a kind of a different concept itself, right? But then like you're overtaking an ice cream store that obviously you want to be different. It's in the heart of Point Pleasant, and there's chocolate shops and other
On
ice
the
cream.
street,
Other
on the same
there's
block.
other ice cream in Point Pleasant.
Yeah.
That I know is super popular. So how do you like separate yourself from or at least try, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine is honestly a big part of separating myself. I mean, she knows the people come in and they ask for her by name, and like, I don't know, it's like more like a family or a store. Like, you're not waiting online and just like getting your stuff and leaving. Like, you're getting, people are talking to you, they're interested in you, they want you to try things. Like, there's a relationship there, which I feel like is really lost in a lot of businesses nowadays.
It is. I feel like your store, and I might be wrong, but this is just like my gut feeling. If you're going to go, hey, I'm in town, I'm in Point Pleasant, and I'm going to grab ice cream. If you're a local, they're probably more apt to come to you. Right? Is that you see like more like people that live in town and stuff? Yeah, because the other places are on the highway and touristy, and they got the line outside, like where you're like this like quaint little
it's
like local hometown shop.
I was gonna say like it's a more intimate experience.
Yeah,
too.
it is.
And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, like you have somebody, but think about the experience of like you said, people come in and they ask for jazz and like, hey, what's the special or what's this? Or I saw your TikTok because you guys are great at doing those. Like, it doesn't happen everywhere. It's cool. It's a different experience, I'm sure, for everybody.
So, and then the other thing leading up to that, right, is what goes into like creating unique menus? Because I know you have to have different. I mean, they have to be different.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, it's a challenge to create something different and a unique menu, and then you have to do it twice, and they can't be the same, or maybe they are the same.
Yeah. What's funny about that is that when I created the truck, when I like drew it out, like I drew this little 4-compartment like ice cream and like one little milkshake thing, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna sell like gourmet desserts and stuff, but like people wanted the ice cream. And not only that, but we did that one s'mores milkshake with the toasted marshmallows. Like, so it's like kind of extreme, but not like super over the top. And like people would come up, they'd be like, I'll take 4 s'mores milkshakes. I'll take 3, And then I added this, we did the Italian festival in Alpin, and I did a rainbow cookie shake where it's like mixed with cannoli, and you got the homemade like rainbow cookies on the top. So people are coming up, I'll take 2 of those and 3 of those. So I was like, there's this market for those shakes. So I give the people what they want.
So now when you're creating those, right, are you kind of almost going like, oh man, like I created this like monster that people want? Because like, that's almost got to be like for the food truck. You're talking about for the food truck, right?
Yeah.
For the food truck, I got to imagine time consuming to create those.
So we did buy 2 new milkshake machines that like bang them out really quick. I mean, last year, like I would come off the truck. I mean, you guys can't see me, but like with my hands like cramped like this because you're like scooping and mixing.
Yeah.
So that helped. And then also, I probably shouldn't say this on the air, but like we have a thing on the truck where like in the store, everything has to look perfect. Like you got the rim and the truck is like, we're always like, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Like,
well, I think there's reality to that though. And I think most people accept it. I mean, we can relate from when we started the coffee business with just the coffee bar. Like we bought equipment and did things in a certain way to be able to fire out the product and get it out quick, because we were doing weddings and corporate events, and you have to serve 200 people in 2 hours. It's not normal, and especially when it's mobile. So I think that's, I don't think that's out of bounds.
No, absolutely not. So to me, it was like when we were building that part of the business, and that was like obviously in the beginning, but it was like, okay, listen, it could be, you can get all different types of espresso machines that we can just knock them out and make them as quick as possible, this and that, but it doesn't look great, or it could look better. But then like you could also make it look really well, but then it's not as fast. So you have to find that medium. I was like, it could be a Ferrari and it could just be all speed, or it could be a Honda and just be really efficient. I was like, but let's see if we can get into like a BMW where it looks nice. It's still kind of fast. And like, that's kind of where we kind of lived there for a while. Like it was, we had bought the printer. We were printing like logos on them. We were getting them out quickly. They tasted great, and it was like efficient. And I think that's where we landed. But it's like you have all these decisions. Like you can make. I'm sure you can make the milkshake look completely perfect, but it's gonna take a lot of time.
Yeah. And not only that, but like we're doing, when you're doing events in July, like you don't want to put stuff on the side of the cup like you would if you're indoors, because that's going to start melting down and get messy. And so
absolutely,
we just like throw extra stuff on top and call it a day.
I also feel like too, it really probably depends on like the type of event you're doing, how quickly you need to move stuff. Because I mean, every time I feel like I go to like we'll say like a festival or some sort of event where like it's not a private event, it's like a public event, and you order from a food truck very infrequently anymore, unless it's like a hot dog truck. Are you paying them and they're handing you your food? It's like, hey, all right, it's going to be 20 minutes. And part of that is because they've gotten so popular and the quality of food has been elevated. Like you're talking about like s'mores, milkshakes and stuff like that, which is cool. It's not like, hey, here's a vanilla milkshake in a cup. Yeah. Same thing with food. Like there's, everything's made to order and people expect it now. It's different. If you were the first one in a food truck to say, hey, you're going to have to wait 15 minutes for your product or 10 minutes or whatever it is, people probably thought you were crazy when you're the first people doing that. But now it's like normal.
We're pretty quick, like 2 minutes. Like we can get the milkshakes.
You have a clock up? You have a clock on the truck?
We keep talking about getting one because I used to work at Dunkin' Donuts and they have those like countdown 2 minutes to get that customer through the drive-through line. So I'm like, I'm gonna get it for you guys. Like, get moving.
It's a pretty cool idea.
I tell you, and was that Dunkin's rule? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
See, I was going to say, I was like, that's knowledge though, because like listen, I'm sure they put a lot of money in research and development to figure out that number.
Is it different based on what's in the order? Like, is it 2 minutes no matter what?
It's a transaction.
Food or anything.
I don't think they care.
Yeah. I was just curious.
If you ever go to a drive-through and instead of making you wait, they make you pull up.
Yeah. I hate that.
That's why. They want you out of that line so their numbers are
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think like that's so like great. So 2 minutes. Okay.
2 minutes.
Good to know.
Interesting.
Good to know. So that's wild. That's wild. That's.
It's funny. I met somebody the other day. I didn't meet her, but
you were talking to.
I was talking to, and she used to work at Wawa, and she was talking about stuff like that too, like all like the things like to make the efficiency numbers just stay at a certain level and go through the roof. It's a lot to be learned from these big companies apparently.
Listen, but take it. I mean, if you keep that experience,
but
where it's tolerable.
Like, think about
for the customer.
How annoyed you are as a consumer, right? When you're on that Dunkin' Donuts line, and you're like, "What's taking so long? I can't believe this." And realistically, you've probably been there for 2 minutes and they're 30 seconds behind. Or you walk into Wawa and it takes them a little bit longer that day to make your sandwich than you're used to. But people are.
Here's the thing:
we're spoiled now.
We are.
You're going to Dunkin' Donuts in the drive-through. And you're like, this is taking forever.
I mean, for the record, I'm not going to the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through ever anymore.
No.
But
obviously,
we're talking. The D word today.
Obviously, we're talking about the people who are listening. You're sitting there and you're going to the drive-through, and you're like, yo, this is taking forever. I'm like, you ordered a sausage, egg, and cheese on a croissant. Like, how else?
Yeah, but
how do you think they're making it? Like,
but everything cooks in like 30 seconds in those Turbo Chef things. It's crazy.
And it comes out.
But with the Turbo Chef, right? I go, make one at home. You know how long you be waiting? That process is brutal.
Listen, I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room who's gotten in the car to go out to pick up something for breakfast because you want to cook eggs on the stove because it takes too long.
I go, it still seems way more efficient than cooking yourself.
It's like the whole, like, we used to, how long to age ourselves did you wait to go on to AOL? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And now my webpage takes a second. I'm like, ding, 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 I'm just pressing it. Like, meanwhile, I used to sit there for 15 minutes. Like,
I was on a website today and I was like, refresh. Why wouldn't it work?
No patience.
It's crazy. I actually had to get on a call about a webpage yesterday that was down. Not our webpage, somebody else's webpage. And the guy I was on the phone with fixed it. And at the end of the thing, he was like, it could take up to 24. Oh, it's back already. Look at that. Like, so you're still like, you just want it right away all the time because you can get it.
I'll tell you what, you don't want it to take 2 minutes.
No, you don't want 2 minutes.
You're like, I'll wait for a coffee and a breakfast sandwich in under 2 minutes or a milkshake and I'll wait for this website to load.
Nope, don't at all.
We used to do, because I have the candy dispensers out. So I actually used to do like where people could bag the candy on the truck, but I've learned that's a bad idea. But I've had this one guy, he waited so long for a milkshake. I mean, it was a long line. That's why it took long. And he was like, right in front of me, he's like, I'm taking this candy because I waited here 45 minutes for 7, you know? We just started like,
just started helping
just
himself.
started like, I was like, oh okay. Like,
People are very brazen.
Now, what kind of event was that?
It was actually the Italian festival in Manalapan.
Oh,
okay.
Where the thing with our truck is we're always the last one anywhere. So like the food trucks will be gone, everyone will be closed up, and we'll still have a line.
They'll come for dessert.
Yeah. So
Like, I think just like the order in which people would naturally eat it just make you the last one, you know? That's interesting. Because I mean, I'd be like, I might skip the chicken fingers and go for the ice cream instead.
Oh, it's like from it, like people are like, hey, you want a cup of coffee? I'm like, absolutely. Any given time, any hour of the day, any moment. But that's also like ice cream is kind of the same thing. Yeah. Like
I could eat, some people.
I could eat, no, but I'm saying for me, like I could eat ice cream like before dinner. I could do that.
I love ice cream, and like I could have ice cream anytime.
Yeah. So
I do that for my kids sometimes. Like, let's just have ice cream for dinner.
Yeah, I'll do that. You know? I always do that like in the summertime.
Cool.
On like the first day and the last day at camp, I always take my daughter for like a milkshake on the drive home. Somewhere that I can go through a drive-through usually, but quick and easy. Like, don't tell mom.
My kids will. We used to live in Lakehurst where there's a Mrs. Walker's. Like you could see it from where I was.
Oh, right on Union.
Yeah. Like I live right there, and my kids will still be like, I missed our old house because I could walk to the ice cream store. I'm like, literally an ice cream truck in your driveway.
I'd be twitching. I'd be twitching.
Yeah.
I would twitch.
Living close to the ice cream shop?
Having my kids
saying
having my kids tell me that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you could walk outside.
Well, you know, we're going to have the experience one day where probably our daughters
knock it out of their hand.
Walk in the house with Starbucks because
Nope.
everybody's drinking it.
I'll knock it out of the hand.
They're $10 Starbucks.
Yeah. So my daughter was introduced to the do you know about the pink drink at Starbucks? Yeah, you know about it, right? So we'll go out sometimes, and sometimes she'll come, like when we do local deliveries, I do one of the sections once a month, and she over the summer she came with me once or twice. So we went out, and she's like, Daddy, can we stop for the pink drink? And I'm like, no. Of all days, you can't have that cup in this car while we're delivering the coffee. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But they'll walk in the house with it one day. I'm telling you, it's going to happen on us.
I'm going to like that. That'd be it. They're like, what's wrong with Daddy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just, that's it. He just,
Daddy went crazy today.
Just leave him upstairs. Don't lock the door to let him come out. Do you test items vice versa? Like, do you test like items on the food truck at a mobile event that you think, oh my God, I could bring this into the ice cream shop? Or do you have things that are like super popular? Like, does that happen often? Or
I mean, what I do is when I do private events and I make different things, I'll make extras and then I'll bring them to the store. But it's hard with the store, to be honest, because like you can study the numbers of my store and you will never come up with a time that everyone's in there, a day that everyone's in there, a product that everyone wants. It is like between candy, chocolate, and ice cream, it's a 33.333%. Like it's insane. I'm telling you, it makes it hard as a business owner because I can't predict anything, but it's just like that.
I feel like that's
tough.
It is.
I don't want to say like the way of the world now, but I think that's become more common as like less. All right. Like, so you're in a spot where there's, different stores and boutiques and stuff like that. But just because of the way people live and the way people shop now, like there's just less people out and about and less people like in routine, like than I feel like there used to be, somebody maybe used to every Sunday morning go to the store next to yours. Now you didn't exist at this point. Like, but let's say 5 years ago, every Sunday they'd go there and they'd pick up their breakfast at the place next to that. Now all of a sudden that person buys whatever they were going for originally on Amazon or online, and now they've taken that customer away from you too, from the same thing. And I think that like in locations like yours where you're in like a downtown, really dependent on foot traffic area,
it is.
You lose a lot from stuff like that.
You do.
That's interesting.
I would say like my advice to be like anyone thinking about starting a business would be figure out how to make it mobile. Because that's where we're going. Well, e-commerce and mobile.
Convenience.
And, like make it mobile. And
I think a lot of businesses now and not to get off track, but I think a lot of businesses now, the premise of ones that could really survive and thrive are ones that save people time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the business now. It's like convenience and time.
Yeah.
I find that to be
I had
a lot of
someone
it.
DoorDash $2 chocolate covered pretzel the other day.
That seems just preposterous.
But
to
but
me.
you're saving
probably
somebody.
cost them like
You're saving
$10.
somebody time.
But I don't think that's a save time example.
No,
Like,
but I mean,
I think that example
Well, no, but I'm
is-
saying DoorDash itself.
that DoorDash is genius for
That's
what I mean,
from
like,
that
I'm
premise.
just not the person who got
but the crazy
one
person
pretzel.
who orders one $2 pretzel and pays $10 for it, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
They probably live in their parents' basement
Yeah. Like,
and have no money because they spend all their money on DoorDash.
mhm.
I don't know if you guys heard this story, but they were talking about this at work. There was a school in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, I forget where, Hamilton Township maybe, or Hamilton or something like that. That they had to send out memos to the parents telling them to stop door dashing for their kids' lunch.
What?
That was a real thing.
That's funny.
I mean,
it doesn't surprise me. I would just
not
think,
to get off track, but that was
I would just think like,
I'm like that.
how do you not know that you just can't have strangers walking
Yeah.
into your kids' school and stuff?
I'm like that was never stories like.
No, like maybe on your birthday, my mom brought me McDonald's or something. That was like the big thing. Like, you know.
I'm like, my head was like
That's
right off my shoulder.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Right
pretty,
off. I
that's
said-
pretty wild.
I
That's
said,
pretty wild.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
We would,
I'm gonna tell everyone that when try to order from the restaurant's website, like DoorDash and Uber Eats, they take a lot of money.
They take a
Like,
ton of money.
You're not. There's no restaurants making money off of that.
No.
It's just because you have to do it, and it does give you
Yeah.
exposure, but it's just.
I'm
much.
always like, there's like some other services, like there's DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub, I guess are the three like big
Yeah.
delivery ones, right?
Yeah.
So there's Slice, which is like primarily pizza shop driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they really and I don't know like how any of it works, but I'm really surprised at the amount of restaurants that don't have their own ordering function on their website and they just link to DoorDash or embed DoorDash in their site or anything like that. It's quite interesting.
Well, and here's a little trick. Square actually partners up with DoorDash and Uber Eats. And so if you create a Square, if you are a restaurant and you create a Square account, a Square website, ordering, I can't think of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They actually charge you way less. Like it's like a small fee. And they just like, I don't know how they do it, but they put it out to the different delivery companies and one of them picks up the order and it's a small fee. And you can actually choose to cover some of the fee. You can choose to have your customer pay it all. Like,
That's interesting.
and so, you can actually make money off of that.
So like, for instance, let's just use round numbers. Normally Grubhub would charge $5 to deliver an order.
Mhm.
If you do it that way, maybe it's $2.50 that
Yeah,
the charges. That's
it
pretty.
is.
That's pretty cool because I've seen a lot of too, like, or I should say, I've heard of like a lot of restaurants like
Yeah.
legitimately just raising their online prices.
Yeah, you have to.
Because the Grubhub fees are so high.
Well,
So
good
high.
for Square.
yeah, good
Yeah.
for Square.
I
At
mean,
least
I
they
don't
did
mean that
well.
sarcastically. Like,
Okay.
It's like a flat fee
I don't mean that
as opposed
sarcastically.
to a percentage.
Yeah,
But-
do you
Mhm.
use Square for POS?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
But-
you know about the Square outage the other day?
Yeah, we didn't really
You
get.
didn't weren't affected.
Ours went off like right when we were getting ready to close.
Yeah, there was like a huge outage. Like everything Square related was like
Yeah.
down nationwide.
Listen, it's happened to the
Oh.
other guys.
It happens to everybody, but I think what's
Mhm.
interesting with Square is like now it's your credit card
Yeah,
processor,
people use it for payroll.
it's your POS,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's your payroll, it's your website because
Yeah.
they bought Weebly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's everything.
Yeah.
So people were losing their minds the other
I only
day.
use it for my point of sale.
Right.
So
Make sure all the easier there.
I'm glad Square stepped up and is helping, small businesses. But
Yeah.
now I just need them to educate more people about that feature because
Yeah.
that's something that like I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
And
Me either.
we've have a Square account and I never got that
Nope.
email.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Now,
I mean,
no, but I'm saying just in general, like just
in all
send it
truthfulness,
out to
like,
everybody.
We have a Square account, Jose's knocking stuff off the table.
Listen,
over
I
here,
didn't
so-
kick it yet.
It's
I didn't
not
kick
the
it yet. I
table,
didn't
though.
kick it yet.
All right, we have a Square account, but we don't really use it primarily. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not, because we're not doing point of sale transactions all the time. And when we are, they're through Shopify point of sale because that's what we use for our website. Because really the majority of stuff is online for us. But it's interesting like how all these companies like that are working with one another to I mean, it's really smart. I mean, if you're Grubhub, like you Sale or Square is not your salesperson. Essentially, they're doing it for you. So it's
I've gotten like 3 Grubhub sales, like, and I get tons of DoorDash and Uber Eats, and like Grubhub, I forget to even update it. So like I'll get them like, oh, I forgot to update, we were closed, and what do you know, we're closed, and I have a Grubhub sale. Like,
no,
it's always like that.
Sorry.
Whoops.
It's funny. There's a pizza place that we order from here. Jose's had it a bunch, and they have like their own online ordering system. I'm sure it's some kind of third party or whatever, but it works great. It's not Grubhub. It's not DoorDash. It's not Uber Eats. They do their own deliveries, and I can't think of many places that actually do it anymore.
But it's hard, right? Like, listen, we all know that you have to wear so many hats, especially in the beginning. And listen, God bless you if you can start taking the hats off as you continue the journey, because that's even hard to do sometimes. But I bet you for the most part, a lot of people's hats aren't figuring out web development to get ordering on my website to take it away from other
No, they're just
it's just
go.
again, it's a convenience factor. They're in the business of time as well.
Well, that's the
now
thing.
You have to employ someone. Your employee
Correct.
driver doesn't show up that day, and
You're
you're
beat.
Yeah,
driving.
it's hard. It's just
And it's like making that choice of like, I can hire this service, even though it's going to take a percentage of my sale. If it saves you from hiring an employee, it's at the very least going to offset the cost.
It's tough.
I mean, I'll be honest though, like I don't agree with how much they take, and I think like for pizza delivery, I mean that's pretty common to still have pizza delivery guys. Like I would fight for that delivery. driver.
Do you take like when you do a festival? Can people order like that and pick up from the truck?
I don't.
You don't do that. It's like
I've like
be mayhem.
kind of thought about it, but
There'll be mayhem, I think.
yeah.
But I've seen like a lot of people
I will
starting
tell
to
you,
do that.
I will tell you that people have come up to me about the other ice cream store in town, and they said they're taking so many online orders that they're waiting. People are just waiting, and they're watching them hand out other orders, and they're getting upset, and they're coming to me. Like, so it's just, it doesn't matter, like, if they put that order in ahead of time, like, people are going to be upset when other orders are
still
coming
have
out.
to efficiently be able to serve customers, whether they ordered online or not. Like, I've had that instance when you walk into, let's just say, I don't know, a taco place, and that Jose and I both love. You go in there and they're in the midst of making an online order, and you have to wait to place your order. Like, I couldn't do that. Like, if that was my store, like there's somebody in the back. If you have that many orders, make the online orders in the back.
It didn't catch up.
Out front.
It didn't catch up yet. That technology, obviously, COVID pushed it. Through the limit, and it worked then because that was it was only online orders. I'm just saying I'm talking about like not for Chick-fil-A. Like Chick-fil-A mastered it.
Chick-fil-A should be running like everything.
Yes,
but Chick-fil-A mastered it
masterclass.
immediately, and it's just efficient, and they're mobile, they're curbside, they're everything.
Everything there is perfect.
But it is my pleasure. But like the other people that are like trying to survive and trying to implement and just trying to do that, like when everything came back, they didn't have a separate guy doing mobile orders or a separate person doing mobile orders and a separate person doing dining and a separate.
I also think a lot of it goes back to our earlier conversation about staffing, right? Like
it's tough.
It's super hard. I mean, to keep your staff, to have your staff, and then to go, all right, I'm going to have somebody who their job is to do mobile orders. You have to make sure you always have enough mobile orders if that's their only job, you know?
That.
It's like you have to, people have to do multiple things, whatever.
I mean, also like at the end of the day too, though, like how many people do you think said, okay, talking about like how many business owners said, oh, okay, guys, hey, listen, we're getting back up to different levels of business. And then dining is building back up or in person is building back up. So now we just have to like change our procedure for how we do mobile orders. Do you think anybody took the time and stopped that, or they just kept doing what they were doing?
Yeah.
So like the person, the kid who's used to doing the mobile orders doesn't understand that, like,
Correct.
hey, listen, that I have to take this person, that person.
Mhm.
Like, you know, you feel the eyes on you.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real
Yeah.
thing. Like, I feel bad for some of these people because I'm like, I'm standing next to somebody who's giving somebody the eyes. I'm like, come on, man.
I
Like,
feel
everyone's
like a
entitled to
lot-
have a day.
I feel like a lot of people, maybe more in like restaurants,
Mhm.
that like during COVID and stuff started doing online ordering or takeout or did more of it. I think they all thought it was going to go away, and I don't think it went away.
No, I think
I think people have just adapted to the convenience of it,
Mhm.
and it's just part of life now. And you know, if your business beforehand was takeout,
Yeah.
it's different. But if your business was dine in or shop in, like even stores where you could go online and place an order for Target.
Mhm.
Like my wife is the queen of Target pickup.
Listen, you should be happy about that because if she walks in the store,
Yeah, I was
she's
gonna say
spending
the
same.
double, triple the amount.
No, it's
Yeah.
true.
It's
Oh, it's
saving
totally-
you money.
totally
if she
true.
walked in the store,
Yeah.
she'd be another TikTok.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're right. You're
It'd be
probably
like
right.
$300 for a $5 item,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
You're right.
amazing.
So I'm sorry, but like she'd be like, "Can you pick up this mobile order for me?" And like, I was like, "Why are we still mobile ordering stuff from
Yeah.
Target?"
Mhm.
Because we can.
Yeah.
And it's just part of life now.
Yeah.
I think like when we were talking about the staffing co-op,
Mhm.
like I've thought about some sort of like delivery system for like small businesses so we're not getting beaten down, but there's just too many moving parts.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
I guess in reality too is like there's just so much cost.
Mhm.
You know, even if it's just paying somebody in your insurance and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like
It's a lot.
there's
We'll let somebody else have that one.
Shipped.
Yeah.
Shipped, is that it? Is
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
a delivery service, and then there's Instacart,
Yeah.
right, which does all the stuff, and I guess anybody could sign up for it, but it's like it's expensive. Everybody
We'll
wants to make money.
let somebody else have that idea.
Yeah, I don't want. I
I'm-
mean,
I'm
Well,
okay
that's
with
because you're not having people order from you. that way.
Correct.
Like, so
Yeah.
me, I feel it. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But I don't want to go off of it because, like, it's potentially I'm losing customers that could be walking through the door now because they've ordered from me. So I'm like at a break even. Like, you're not making any. They take
that's brutal.
like 30%.
Yeah, no, I heard
You know
it's
what I mean? Like
30%.
that-
That's
that's-
brutal.
30%.
Now,
Think about
I
what
have a
your
question,
profit
though.
That's
margin
just
I have
like
is.
abusive.
Yeah,
I have a
that's what
question,
mean.
And I have two questions. The first one is like, how many times were you there that people did a Grubhub? But see, you don't see the person though; you see the driver. Like they,
Yeah.
don't, like I wonder how many people never heard of it and saw it on Grubhub.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
wonder if that's a
Uh-huh.
real thing, or maybe
But-
maybe
Their
customers, maybe
delivery's
customers,
pretty far.
but maybe
Yeah.
customers that come back
Radius.
in and go, you know, I didn't even know this was here.
Mhm.
I'm in town now. Like, does
Yeah.
that happen?
I mean,
So,
you'd have to ask Jasmine about that.
Yeah.
I bet you it does.
I don't think. It
I
would.
think
I'm
like
just curious.
Yeah.
the idea of converting that customer
Mhm.
is great because like, we've
Yeah.
had that even like with the markets that we do. We're like, if we can convert
get-
X
uh-huh.
percentage to online orders, it'd be great.
But realistic.
We did an online sale like a week or two ago of K cups,
Mhm.
and 2 customers that order from us regularly but come and buy at the market
Mhm.
sent emails asking, can I just get this
Get
at the
them-
market?
yeah.
And I'm like, or you could just order it and
Order it,
have it
yeah.
shipped for free.
Uh-huh.
But I think converting like somebody's habits like that, because that's I guess really what you're doing, is tough.
The
Yeah.
other thing too, and like you share the similar problem that we share is that our margins are not designed for things like that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like for you, you're like, hey, listen, they're taking 30% of a milkshake order
Mhm.
or 30% of an ice cream order or
Mhm.
cookie tray or something. We're like the margins aren't like designed to absorb a 30%
Correct.
hit
Wow.
there, and then also take off the price, this, that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and all
they're-
those other expenses that people don't see that come out of that
and
transaction.
they're also like smaller transactions
Yeah.
too. You know, it's not like you order from a pizza place, not a restaurant, like you want a hamburger.
Mhm.
So you go, hey, we're gonna order from Joe's Bar and Grill tonight. We're gonna get burgers, Grubhub, and you get a burger, and then so and so gets this
An
and then you go,
appetizer.
I'll get an appetizer.
Yep.
We need a drink too, so bring a drink. And all of a sudden,
Mhm.
the $15-$20 burger turned into a $75
Yeah.
order. So 30%, you're still losing it, but you're
Yeah.
still across the board. It makes, makes a
what-
difference too.
But what I was going to say from our perspective is that, we have a bag of coffee,
Mhm.
but man, do we have to pay to ship it?
Mm-hmm.
And that bag of
Yeah.
coffee doesn't look as attractive
Mhm.
when you add it
Yeah.
to your cart.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like we're just not designed to absorb these. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like
You don't mail order any products, right? Like people can't.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think
People
so.
have like
They'll
out,
ask,
but
right?
it's not. Like,
It's tough.
Yeah, and then it's delicate and it breaks, and now I just lost that money.
We know somebody that does juices, and they had asked me, they're like, we're trying to figure out shipping for it's so expensive. I'm like, it's not going to get cheaper. It just is what it is. And you just have to deal with it because
you have to have like a global like rollout, I think, for that to be worth it.
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise, like that's the only way your pricing is going.
Like when we ship a bag, of coffee, I could ship the bag of coffee in the same town, and it's minimum $6.
Yeah,
minimum for a 12-ounce bag of coffee. So the whole thing, packaging, everything is £1 maximum, and it's like $6. It's like the cheapest somebody ever gets shipping on a $14 bag of coffee. It's nuts. Now, it's not so terrible if you get 2 or 3 because the box size doesn't go up, but only the weight does, and it's manageable, but it's a lot.
I did it with LuLaRoe. I sold LuLaRoe.
Oh yeah.
Like back in the crazy days.
Yeah.
And,
I remember that.
But it was different because
you freehold.
you came with your shirts.
Yeah.
So right to that one event we did.
Was that iPlay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but it was a 50% markup. So like paying shipping and people are buying like tons of stuff, like that was worth it.
Yeah.
Like it really was. But yeah, this isn't, unless someone wants a lot.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, listen, like our customers are paying the shipping price unless they order a certain dollar amount, we'll ship it for free. But
it's $40 for those listening.
Yes, it is $40. And new Shopify update, you're not going to have to enter the code anymore.
Oh, perfect.
Just found
I've
out today.
definitely ordered $40 worth from you guys before.
Yeah, I mean, people do it, but we have people that like even recurring, and I'm like, oh, you guys should just get an extra bag. Like they only do 1 bag a month on like a recurring order, so they're getting whacked for shipping $7-8 for 1 bag of coffee. Sometimes it's crazy.
Now, at the end of the day, though, right? And $21, $20 for a bag of coffee. I still think it's more cost effective than going to Starbucks 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
It's way more.
Yeah.
If that's your replacement, it's way more.
Yeah.
So I still find like it's still an advantage, an advantage for somebody, especially in the economy that we're in. So maybe if you want to save a couple bucks on a bag of coffee from us instead of going to the green machine.
I think that there's like not enough people that understand what goes into small businesses, and just
1,000%.
Like people think like if you own a business that you're like rich and can just like literally just start it up. Like the amount of people that come in for donations every week is like, I love to donate. It's like one of the reasons why I own a business is because I like to be able, but it's like, it's a lot of pressure. Like,
Yeah.
I believe it.
It's a ton. I mean, we've had plenty of people reach out, and probably less because there's not a store to walk into. But people reach out and donations all the time. And it's like, all right, you have to unfortunately pick and choose and go, I can get behind this cause. I can't get behind that one as much. So I have to put it here. And I think you're right. What people don't understand of like, hey, listen, just because I have it doesn't mean I can just give it to you all the time for nothing.
I have to like, I really have to like believe it. Like I like to believe in it. Like for like real like donations and charity and things like that. Like I have to really feel it.
Yeah.
Like the opposite. Do you want to round up your purchase? Yes. Do you want to donate $1? Yes.
Well, that's funny. No. I'm talking about I'm just talking about strictly from a coffee company.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking that this is crazy. That came up in a conversation the other day, and I was like, I told somebody, I was like, you're the type of person that they says you want to round up for this, and you're just like, nope. I'm like, I'll round up for everything.
Yeah.
Like I
Every time?
Yeah.
almost every time. Yeah.
Wow. That's
I've
impressive.
actually gone into ShopRite like because I forgot something, and then like, all right.
I would say
again.
I would say I'm 85% round up.
Okay.
I mean high.
I'd probably put myself at 70.
Yeah.
Because
still high.
That's still high. Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't want to be a jerk, but like you frequent the same places. So like you're always rounding up to the same foundation or whatever it is.
Unless
like,
it's something so ridiculous that I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is out of control.
You know what?
But
they got to
I do
figure
round
out
up.
like on the donation front of things. Because listen, I don't mind giving my money to the girls with the cheerleading outside. You know what the problem is? When you don't have cash in your pocket.
They take Venmo.
And not all of them.
Oh,
they should all take Venmo now.
I see people
happened to
taking
me,
Venmo.
and they didn't have any Venmo. They were just shaking it like old school. And I'm like,
Well, I appreciate that.
let me go to the car and find some change because I felt like a jerk because I had no money to give the girls.
Yeah.
I never have cash on me. Like I feel
Terrible.
so bad when I'm driving by a lemonade stand and I'm
Right?
like, I don't have it, you know, like I
It's
feel
tough.
horrible. Like,
Yeah. So let's get back on track here.
Yes.
Now that we've solved Grubhub and DoorDash problems, we've saluted Squarespace, and we understand that we like to tip above average on rounding up,
Yeah.
at ShopRite and Wawa.
important stuff.
So back to the food truck and the sweet shop. The like I know you're huge on TikTok, or like your TikToks are great rather. Like I mean, they're funny. So
They're very good.
what has that process been like? Obviously, having like a personal TikTok versus having a business account for TikTok or business socials and other socials. What has that experience been like for you?
I'm so bad at social media. Like
Okay.
if you could record me trying to make videos, like it would probably have its own like fan base because I'm like crying. I delete it on accident.
Could be a thing.
I do it backwards. I finally upload it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm there. I upload it and I like forgot to take out the background of that. Now you got to start over from the beginning. And it's just, and I try with the different apps, but still, but like I do get ideas that like I do think are funny. It's just executing them. Like, so
It's a process. It's a journey for sure.
Mm.
I think for us, it's like understanding that it doesn't have to be perfect. And that was hard for me.
Yeah, that's super hard. I mean, honestly, like even for me, like doing the podcast, we just started. Like I've spoken in front of people and crowds my entire life. But put me in front of a camera,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar, but like you just got to go. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing with social media. And going, listen, like it can't always be perfect, and I honestly think not being perfect is the allure of it sometimes to certain people is they want to see your human side, right? And that you make a fault, there things happen, and you spell a word wrong because I'm the king of that. So that's why I'm saying that, just because I can't spell anything.
I think too, though, like we'll do like we call them like one takes, and for the most part, they're one take, if not two, three the most. But if you're gonna do like a quick one take, and I fumble a word, I sometimes I keep it in, because I'm like, it's okay to like mess up like the way I said a word, like that's okay. Like I'm like, what do you want? Like we're not perfect. We're doing other things, and we're on to the next thing. Like, because then you just never post it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Then it's like, oh, well, if I'm going to wait till I get it perfect, it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, especially like you guys, you're doing TikToks in the shop, like while you're open and customers. How many times have you been trying to do it and a customer interrupted you probably? And it's like, well, if I don't go back to it.
And you're in a weird spot. You're like, and they walk in, you got the camera at you. You're like, hey.
What's up? Let me make you a milkshake.
Yeah. Do you want this one?
Yeah. I'm okay with the camera stuff. It's the editing stuff I really struggle with. I could make a fool out of myself on camera. It wouldn't bother me. But
that's what we do every 2 weeks now.
Yes, we do.
But I'm like we're opposite, I think, because I don't want to talk in front of a crowd publicly. Like I'm all right, Tom, like you could have that one. Put me here though, like I'll figure it out.
I made Jose talk in front of like a grand total of 12 people once when we first started the coffee bar. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember. Trust me.
And he was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's only 12 people here. I go, it's like being at your Christmas dinner or something.
There's more people there. There's more people there.
At Christmas dinner. Yeah. Well, your family, there probably is.
But
like,
I don't. And people don't know that about me. Like people think like I'll just talk in front of a whole crowd. Like I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
See, I'm the opposite in the way that like I will talk on a stage in a crowd, like whole things, but like
my stomach would hurt.
You put someone in front of me and tell me to do small talk. I'm like, oh, I had a C-section last week. You know what I mean? Like I'll just like say like really personal, like awkward things. And they're just
like, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Like, oh, God.
That's kind of interesting though, because it's funny. Like you'll talk in front of anybody. Jose doesn't talk in front of anybody. Doesn't want to. But he's like the king of small talk.
I knew it.
Yes.
He's always, and I'm kind of more like you. We're like, if I got something to say, we'll talk. If I got nothing to say, I'll see you later. Like, but give me a microphone and stick me on a stage in front of people, and I'm good to go.
So, well, the thing about like being like the king of small talk is like having it be relevant and not just BS. Like not just like rambling of some sort. Like it's really being engaging quickly, impromptu, off the cuff. Like,
Yep.
and it's just me and you having a conversation. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And we'll laugh and we'll maybe get a sale out of it or something. But I don't want to talk to a conference at a conference. I would die. I would die.
So
Like
that's
I
me
wouldn't,
and
I wouldn't,
Jasmine.
I would be sweating in the
And you
car.
too.
Yeah.
I'd be like stumbling over it in my head. I'd be like, they'd be like, okay, and now to present. I'm like,
Yeah.
that'd be me. I'm like,
That's
oh,
so funny.
Yeah.
hey guys.
Guess you
It's
can't
terrible.
have both social
Nah,
skills.
But-
I think very few
but-
people probably do.
Yeah.
But social media is like, it is just a beast.
Mhm.
Oh, it's
People are
brutal.
mean. So
People
mean.
are mean.
Oh,
People
bring it
hated
on.
that employee one I did about employees being on their phone.
Oh, I saw
I
that.
get so many like mean comments about that.
That's like, oh, what do you want? But it's
Yeah.
like, but it's it's like a generational thing too,
Yeah.
right? Where like I guess like young people, and you probably employ a bunch of young people in
Yeah.
the store.
Mhm.
That's just it's like an appendage.
Mhm.
It's
It
just
is.
part of them, and all their parents are soft.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to laugh a little.
Well, you do, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny.
They were okay with people throwing ice cream at people's faces though all summer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That was funny.
I did that.
No.
I know. That's why I said.
But
My
I mean,
niece made me do it.
No,
that
but
was
like,
funny.
it's
But the same people. They
where's the
didn't complain
line?
about that.
My thing is,
Yeah,
where's the
I know.
line?
Right.
All
Right.
jokes aside, and
listen.
I very like to walk the line. Like I like to stay on one side of it, but
you're.
I'm more
management.
cautious and
Yeah.
less risk taking than most on that front. But
I think the reality
you
of it
can't
though,
be both. You can't be both.
No,
You can't be like,
you
oh,
can.
I'll laugh at that because I think that's
you
funny.
can because now you can
That
do
is-
everything you can post
That
anonymously
is the
now.
essence of
Oh,
social
I can't do
media.
another
that
anonymous
people can
conversation.
do whatever they want and
Yeah.
say whatever they want
And-
and like this and not like that.
Yeah.
So I
and,
just
like,
think that's a hard part of it.
it's tough, and I think the most important thing like is you just have to go into it at this point, and I have to do it because it's an essential part
Yeah, you have
of
to
having a
now.
small business,
Mhm.
and no matter what you say, it will offend or bother somebody. It could be nice, it could be mean, it could be down the middle, and someone's gonna have a problem with it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you just have to swallow that and do
Yeah.
what you got to do.
For sure.
Wow.
And like know that if you stumble on a word, it's okay. Like,
Right, exactly. But somebody will attack you for that too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So I'm ready for it. Like,
People are
keep it there.
ruthless.
Like I didn't get a
On the
haircut this
internet.
week, so
Oh,
someone
people are gonna-
bring
I
me at
mean-
me, bring me the hate.
Oh man, just
I
you
thought
could-
about doing makeup, but that's not me. So I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, it'd be
Listen.
you. Like
Leave that. Mhm.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I got a haircut on Friday. I don't shave till Friday. Like I was like, it's kind of long today. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like, sorry guys,
It's
what you
what
get.
it is.
Watch it on YouTube if you want to see it.
exactly.
Get what you get and you don't get upset.
Yes.
I know.
Wandering
Yes.
Sweets like slogan.
I like it. I like it. Can you put that in the building.
So what? I know we spoke a little bit briefly about it, but what actual advice would you give somebody that's going to be either into, candy shop, sweet shop, ice cream shop, or even like a food truck? 'Cause I know people tend to do food trucks. I feel like is really trendy
Yeah.
now. But I mean, what advice would you really give somebody who's listening, going like, oh my god, I could see myself doing this?
I would say like this is going to be somewhat conflicting. So I would say do your research, work your numbers, like do a business plan, like do as much like research as you can before you open, but also like this is your dream. If this is what you want to do, like go for it. You know what I mean? Like don't sit around and waste your whole life and regret not doing it, or finally start it like 10 years down the line and regret that you didn't start it sooner. Like it's just whatever. Start something, you fail. Like there's always, listen, minimum wage is pretty high now. So like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
business is going to fail. Like you could go find a job and just like keep going from there.
just jump.
I
Just do
think
it.
I think that's good advice. I mean, like you have to jump off into the deep end at some point,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Mhm.
but if you have a plan before
Yeah.
you jump,
Yeah.
you're
a
probably
free
not
fall.
going to
Yeah.
sink. I mean, or at
Yeah.
least your odds of not sinking
Yeah.
are much greater. But it's never gonna. Like I think a lot of people wait and wait and wait and wait for the perfect time, for the perfect
Yeah.
situation,
It doesn't exist.
and it never happens.
I
And
find
you
a lot of
regret.
life milestones. You can't wait and wait. You're never ready. Like one of those things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's one of those like type of
Yeah. Somebody,
of actions.
somebody told me about that about having kids.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm
I was
saying. Like
you're
it's like
never
anything
gonna
that's like
be
really like
ready.
big,
Ever.
big
Yeah.
changes or a big decision is like you're never ready. Like,
Yeah, because you could always rationalize why you're not ready. Yeah, and the same thing for. I mean, listen, the business is your baby. At least it better be.
Yeah.
And you could always rationalize why it's not the right time to take the leap. But I think, to your point of like, if you did your diligence, you know, you can make money at it. It can be profitable if the work is there and the customers are there. Go for it, right?
And if you're trying to fill a tiny niche, okay, like think about why it's not filled yet before you do it. Because it could be because your idea is genius, but also there might not be a market for it.
Yeah.
I tell this story, and I haven't told it on the show yet, but something I learned probably like a decade ago, and I probably told you already, but there was like a sneaker executive. The story is like there's a sneaker executive. He works for company A, and his boss says, "Hey, I need you to go out to the Amazon and see if anybody's wearing sneakers." And there's a sneaker executive for company B, and he goes, "Hey, I need you to tell his executive, I need you to go out to the Amazon and tell me if anybody's wearing sneakers." And come to find, nobody in the Amazon's wearing sneakers. So company A comes back and says, "Hey, boss, nobody's wearing sneakers. That's not the market for us. Nobody's wearing sneakers." And then company B goes, "Hey, boss, I came back. Nobody's wearing sneakers, so we can sell everybody sneakers."
Yeah.
And I think that's like that always stuck with me as like, do you want to do this and like there's not a market for it and like it can scare somebody, or you can say there's not a market, let's go get it.
Yeah.
I think that's like a huge that's always stuck with me, and I still think like that.
I mean, I think it's super unique too. Like when you have that mentality, and then your business is great, the idea is awesome, and then you realize that it's so niche that it's great and you can make great money. But when you find those people, like we had that experience a little bit with the coffee bar, when we started doing it, it was awesome, but we were really focused on weddings. So it's like, all right, well, you need weddings. Okay. High numbers, 2% of the population is getting married. Like those are high numbers. Okay. Now I need a wedding, and you got to have somebody who loves coffee, because they don't need to have specialty coffee at their wedding. It's not like like a DJ. They need a DJ, right? Or they need food. Then you have to get the person that's also willing to spend the money to have it on top of all that. So it's super
that too.
And they're there. They're there. There's plenty of them there. But comparatively, like when we started selling coffee online, I was like, who the hell's buying their coffee online? Because I never did it before we started the business. But you just opened up the spectrum of people to all you need to be is a coffee drinker. Yeah. That's it. You don't have to have anything else going on.
I'll tell you.
So they both work.
Yeah.
They just have to.
And not even that. I think at this point, like, you just have to be online. Yeah, like people don't even drink coffee, but just shop online. But like, I'll buy your coffee because I just want to shop and buy something. Like that's another person that's like another customer you didn't have.
Yep.
Because you're just like, I just want to shop today. I'm going to be online today buying stuff. I'm like, coffee sometimes is part of it.
I mean, we're in a cool, world now because of TikTok and Instagram and all that. That like, you do find that tiny niche market and you're not finding people, like you make some good videos and there's a chance like you're converting those people. They want to come see what you're about. So that's a big opportunity that even 5 years ago, it wasn't like that, Like when Luthero started, the online sales, like selling on Facebook, like people were like, this is crazy. And it blew up. And since then, like, I really feel like that changed like the market in general.
I'm sure.
The way like the live sales and sound like that.
I'll give you live sales. That I'll buy.
Oh, yeah.
I'll buy that because they were I'm sure they were pushing that.
Big time.
Oh, the live sales were insane. You like just people just holding stuff up and buying it. I mean, and people still sell that way, like all different things.
I feel like a lot of like jewelry and stuff like that. Like you see people that do like that are in like those. I mean, I don't know what you call them. I don't want to like, but I don't know, products similar to that. And like they're like, hey, I got this necklace and this, and I'm like, who buys? Like I've never bought anything like that. But I
haven't. No,
a ton of people.
That's a woman thing.
I think that's the thing.
You have patience to sit there.
You do, and I have none.
Yeah.
I mean, I
but
know.
Obviously, a ton of people do it because it's still a thing, even all these years later, when there's all these other ways and maybe more efficient ways to sell the product or buy the product, and they still do it. So it's working.
I know somebody. I have a friend that buys at an online boutique. Like I wouldn't say bi-weekly, but I'm sure they check it out weekly, and they buy at least once a month.
Because even with TikTok and Instagram, you're creating this like familiarity with
Yeah.
people where even though it's going across millions of people, people feel like they know you and they want to
Yeah.
shop with you, and you build this like brand loyalty based on like who you are, like, and it's like an opportunity that didn't exist before.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on
No.
some, like to some degree, TikTok, people that sell product on TikTok
Yeah.
are, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just,
it is.
it's just a little different. Like I saw a guy the other day, he sells a, like literally a blowtorch to sear meat. And it's,
Our algorithms are still different.
so
Yeah.
It's good to know.
They're very different.
You want to know what mine comes.
But he's like, yeah, it's available in my TikTok shop and this and that. And I'm like, this guy's selling
saw
a
an
blowtorch.
Yeah.
I saw an
Is that
article.
even
Like,
legal?
but like that's all he's doing. He's just making videos
Yeah.
about how he cooks all this different meat,
Mhm.
and then he sears it with a blowtorch. It's crazy.
I saw an article maybe about a month ago where they were like, "Hey, is TikTok Shop gonna compete against Amazon?"
Right.
Because, and I'm like, I mean, probably not.
No, but it'll
Yeah.
compete against Facebook shopping and Instagram shopping.
But I guess the whole premise though was that TikTok is just so massive,
Mhm.
so massive that it has to eat a little bit into your online sales. Like it's just, I mean, whether it's 5%, 2%, 3%. I mean, it's just so
maybe.
massive.
I don't know if maybe you can't quantify it at this point.
Yeah,
I
you know
I
what I
also
mean? Like,
think that people also, there's the whole like referral sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you're clicking on their product
Oh,
that they're
like
promoting,
affiliate
but it's
marketing?
actually linking you to Amazon.
Yeah,
so they're
exactly. A
still
lot of
getting
it's like
that.
affiliate
affiliate
marketing.
marketing
Yeah,
is
exactly.
still.
So you do
Which
have a
is-
ton of that.
Which
yeah.
is fine because like I almost feel better doing it that way because I
Mhm.
feel like, listen, like we're all giving our money to Amazon.
Yeah.
Every single one of us. And
Mhm.
if
When's the
you-
last time you made an Amazon purchase?
I bought like 3 things today.
Like,
Like
yeah.
every
Today.
day.
I
The
did- I did
Amazon,
one today.
Last
the
week.
Amazon man comes to my house daily.
Today.
Whether I'm buying something for the business or
I
whether
can't
I'm
wait
buying
for my
something
husband
from
to
house.
hear this because he thinks it's just
No,
No, it's
it's-
true. I bought
it's-
something today and I had something delivered yesterday.
Yeah, it's
So-
it's everybody. But if you're doing it through an affiliate link, I almost feel better about it because at least I'm supporting somebody's.
Yeah.
We'll call it a small business, right?
Yeah.
Like because people have literally built businesses selling by doing like
Yeah.
clothing reviews or
Mhm.
try-ons or whatever on TikTok and stuff like that, and they make real money from it.
I don't I haven't purchased anything on like an Instagram algorithm that showed up that says like, here are the new purchases on
Yeah.
Amazon this week, and I'm like, but I'll follow them
Yeah.
because I go, I appreciate the effort.
Mhm.
I know it's hard,
Yeah.
so I appreciate the
easy.
effort. I give you a follow, but I haven't bought anything yet.
Yeah.
Mhm. But there's
Um,
just so many avenues now.
Yeah.
Like there's just
that's wild.
It's hard.
There's almost no excuse. Like if you do already have a business and it's not going the way you like it, there's so many ways to pivot it and just
Yeah.
keep going.
I think the biggest excuse is probably being paralyzed by the inability to make the decision of where to
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Like, do I
true.
spend my time on this platform or that
Mhm.
platform or that platform or whatever it is? It happens to a
Wow.
ton of people.
Yeah, or being stuck in the idea that you're in. You know,
Yeah.
like I could have been that way with the ice cream and the milkshakes.
Yeah.
I could have been like, well, but that's not what I want to do.
Mhm.
And then I wouldn't be selling as much as I am right now.
Or you could have not bought the shop
Mhm.
because you're like, I don't want to own a store. I want to
Yeah.
own a food truck.
Mhm.
Where
Oh,
this
wow,
gave
story.
no, but it serves a great purpose.
Yeah, no, it does.
You know, where otherwise you're just paying somebody else
Mhm.
rent. Like,
Almost the same amount, really.
Yeah.
From what my rent is.
yeah, if you're
like-
renting the kitchen, they're super expensive. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
know,
we've
it serves
we've
another purpose.
honestly talked about like just using that as like a commissary.
Yeah.
Because the staffing, I mean, it's like
That's-
in the summer, I do a lot of crying. I'm like, like I have to miss stuff to go work because, and the whole point of the food truck was that I got to pick and choose like what I did and still got to have the family time and be there for everything. So
But it's just like, and like obviously we post it on there every day, every week, and we never really talk about it. But it's the grind.
mhm.
yeah,
It is, and like if you just grind it out, like just another day,
Yeah.
another day, eventually, like that staffing is gonna resolve. It's gonna resolve, and you're gonna be able to put people on a schedule.
Mhm.
But listen, like the first, 5 years of it, it's
Yeah.
gonna suck.
Mhm.
I
and that's
wasted
okay.
a lot of money on training people.
Oh, I bet you did.
A lot.
It's gonna
Good.
suck.
I know. It
That
does.
sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
But
Mhm.
I the reward though, oh, man,
Yeah, that's
gotta
the
be
thing,
great.
The payoff, you know.
So it's tough though. Like that just sucks.
My food truck employee is one of like my good friends, like who does all the, and it's just fun.
Well, I was
She's
gonna
just a
say,
great
that's-
worker, and it's just fun. It's me, her, my husband, my mom, Jasmine. Sometimes, like it's just their food truck is like no stress to me at all. It's
That's
like
great.
just fun and easy, and you really never leave without making decent money.
Yeah.
You know, unless you pick
I mean,
the
it's,
wrong.
it's like, yeah, I mean, you pick the
Yeah.
wrong event to do.
Mhm.
It's different, but it's really set up where like
Yeah.
you're where you have the store, you have
Yeah.
people got to come to you. You're
Uh-huh.
going to the people. So unless it, you know, it rains and rains out an event that they're not going to reschedule, few and far between.
How do you and I was gonna get to the last question, but now this just popped in my head. No, it's fine. How do you market the food truck? I mean, obviously it's different than the ice cream shop because you're doing private events. Are people coming to the ice cream shop saying, "Hey, do you do private events?" and then you're selling the food truck, or do you market the food truck separately, or is it one of those like I just don't know, but it's great and I appreciate it?
Yeah, like when I built out the truck and had a couple pictures, I like just posted a few places on Facebook, and I immediately started getting calls. And it's been like that. So when I can sit down and really market it, like it's gonna do even better. But this is just people. I don't even know how they find me. I should probably add that on my forums.
We've had a very similar experience with like the coffee bar stuff. Yeah. And I think it gets into like that. It's a super niche market, right? So if somebody goes, I want a dessert food truck, and even if it's as simple as I'm going to dessert food truck, New Jersey, how many are there? Probably not a lot.
No, there's hardly.
You know?
Any.
So that's how they get to you. Somebody wants a coffee bar. There's not a lot.
Man, there's no ice cream food trucks. Terrible business. Don't do it. It doesn't exist. No one. You know what I mean? Like it's like a perfect example.
And especially of the nature that you do. Like there's like, you know, the guy who drives the neighborhood selling ice cream, but that's so different than what you do.
They're expensive. I quoted one out there.
And even though most people will hire me just for ice cream, they want to hire me just because I'm different. Like even though they can get the same like ice cream from a regular ice cream truck, they just
it's an experience.
Yeah, well, it's
and
the
it's the experience.
The TV, like people love the slideshows when we do birthday parties.
It looks nice. It's not like the crust.
And I heard the coffee in the truck is delicious.
The coffee's really
notch.
good.
I heard that. So the I guess the last question we have for you is like, what is your favorite like Jersey Shore memory?
I would say Wildwood. We did Wildwood every year from like when I was a baby up until really recently. Like we did that, and I don't know, it was like a second home, you know, just going there for a week. And we went with one other family. Every year we had different friends coming with us, and like I do take my kids down. Like we'll do Cape May for like 2 days, because if you've ever been to Wildwood, you know that a week there you could go on like a cruise.
Could imagine.
Or like a regular, like a fancy vacation.
I haven't been to Wildwood in a long time, but
that's
like
not true.
We went to Wildwood. Jose and I drove to Wildwood to take a 30-second video clip on the boardwalk.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But I when I was a kid,
I just wanted to make sure that that 30 seconds was accounted for, because he made it seem like it wasn't important.
Before that, I think the last time I was there was
like,
my prom in high school. So it's been a while. But Wildwood's like like the biggest boardwalk destination in New Jersey.
And tram car,
yeah. But you're like, you go on a cruise, like you go to Point Pleasant and feel like you spend all the money on the cruise. 5 minutes away from where I am now, and it's just nuts. So no, Wildwood will be different.
So we do 2 nights, and it's still, I mean, you still could go.
It's funny. My wife has said for years, like, one of these times, like, we're gonna go to Wildwood. We're gonna go to Wildwood. So I'm like, I've looked at the price of like just the hotels and stuff, and I'm like, these guys are crazy.
This isn't the year.
I go, and this isn't a hotel. This is a motel. Like, what are they talking about?
Oh,
this
our
is
hotel
nuts.
is crap that we went to every year. Like the beds were like stiff. Like,
that's the whole experience.
I'm gonna get on.
But we only, if you know anything about Italians, we are going to the same
one
hotel
every time.
Year. It doesn't matter. Like,
I bet.
Listen, I'm getting on a plane and going on vacation. It also, I can't. Vacation an hour from where I live.
That's my father.
I think drives like the idea of it makes me crazy.
But when you have 3 kids, though.
Yeah, I don't have 3 kids. I only have 1 kid, so we're going on the plane.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's my father though. Like we never like really went to LBI.
Yeah.
We live in Monmouth County.
You go for a day.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad would be like, "Well, we're not going to stay over anywhere I could drive home that night."
No.
Like that doesn't make any sense. So I get it. Well, it's been an interesting episode. I want to say we solved a lot of world problems today,
Tons.
tonight or whenever you listen to it. I didn't kick the table. I know I've been kicking the table in a lot of episodes,
Yep.
and we chatted so long.
You
while
dropped his
drink-
clipboard.
You dropped your clipboard.
But I didn't kick the table. Like I just want to.
We chatted so long that the batteries died.
That the battery went out
on
and the glow
on your
sign.
wandering sweet sign,
So
Oh,
which
I'm
is
excited.
my fault because I said before we started, just leave it on, Jose.
yeah.
The
I
batteries aren't
asked.
going to die.
Oh, trust me, I asked.
The conversation was so riveting. You just couldn't stop
that
it.
just let the lights went out. So, where can people find you? Like your physical location and also like on Instagram and things like that.
We're at 512 Bay Avenue, right off of Arnold in Point Pleasant. The food truck, just give me a call for that, and I'll come to you for that. And just follow us on all our handles are Wandering Sweets NJ.
Perfect.
Awesome. Same thing for the website, Wandering Sweets NJ?
No,
No,
Wandering
just wanderingsweets.com. Awesome.
Nobody uses the website. Everyone, what's your menu?
Yeah.
Here it is, wanderingsweets.com/menu.
Yep.
Oh,
Fair enough.
man. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed it.
All right.
All right.
So long.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Coffee Before You Talk to Me. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Bean Muggin Coffee Co. and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep that coffee hot. And please, coffee before you talk to me.